You're watching the It's Her Time podcast with Cody and Jess. Hi, welcome back to the It's Her Time podcast. My name is Cody Sanders, and I am a holistic health practitioner and functional nutritionist. And on today's episode, I have the most amazing guest. I'm really excited for you to meet him, Dr. David Rosensweet. He is a functional medical doctor who specializes in women's hormonal health. He has over 5 decades in functional medicine. Today, we're going to be talking all about the ins and outs of hormone replacement therapy. I was able to ask him so many questions that I know many of you have been sending in to me. And I love that he shared a lot of information that differs actually from some of the other doctors that we've had on this show. I found it fascinating. I found myself learning a lot from him. And I especially just loved his warm heart. And I could tell that he really cares for his patients and really has such great intentions to help us women feel our best as we are aging and going through different stages of our life. But before we go into this amazing episode, let's join Jess for a Mixers Girl Say.
I always love to giggle with everyone. I mean, at least we're giggling. We know we can't hear you. I'm assuming that you're giggling.
Yes.
So these are always some of our favorite questions.
These are
Your
classics.
stories are so good. This one, for today's Mixers Girl Say, we're going through worst date stories.
You never fail. You tell us the funniest things ever. Okay, let's go. I can't wait.
After splitting the bill with me at Cafe Rio, just splitting the bill, where are the gentlemen?
I don't know.
I know that's not all. I know that that's not a blanket statement I can make, but like, just grab her Cafe Rio.
If you're a girl, you can take a guy on a date, you pay. And if the guy asks you on a date, he pays, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
After splitting the bill at Cafe Rio, he suggested that we watch a movie in his grandparents' spare bedroom. No, thank you.
Was he living
Hey,
with
Grandma?
his
I don't know.
Like, where? Why?
Oh, these start to actually make me sweat. I get so awkward just putting myself in this situation. Blind date. First and foremost, blind dates. So brutal.
They are.
Blind date. Just us. 7 hours long.
Oh.
That's too long. A blind date is like an hour.
Go get some
2 hours max.
Yeah. Go get a drink together.
Also, I like that a lot of the team now, they tell us that like the best thing for a first date is everyone does like, let's grab a drink at Starbucks.
Yeah.
And like you do a 30-minute grab a drink and chat, and then
you know
can either
in that amount of time if you click
totally
or not.
do.
Yes.
I think that's so great. But okay, sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Blind date, just
7
us,
hours.
7 hours long. Wouldn't talk, but wouldn't stop touching me.
Wait, what? On a first date?
I'm like, don't touch me at all. Don't come
even
near
know
me.
you. What does your
I don't know the sound of your voice.
Like?
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, so sorry that you experienced that. That was the ending of hers. I would love to know more. A guy I wasn't interested in kissed me on a first date the day after I got lip injections.
I've never had lip injections.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't had them either. I'm just assuming. I haven't had them.
It must hurt.
Yeah.
But they were probably nice and juicy lips, so
yeah.
Sure you just couldn't resist. Even though it was the first date. Kisses on the first date, what do you guys think? Yay or nay?
Yeah. Okay.
I always know this is good because you can't even speak.
This is so great. Okay. Took me on a surprise date and surprised me with hunting. I am a huge animal lover and absolutely hated every second. That's so sad. You're like just purposely shooting into the sky. Oops. I keep missing. Oops. Oh, I feel like hunting is not like a thing to assume. No. Like there's first dates.
He just wanted to go on a date and wanted to go hunting.
Yeah.
And thought,
like there's first date activities that I feel like you can assume someone would like. Like, I don't know. Well, I guess I don't know. You can't assume anything ever. But like a bike ride through a park or grabbing food always. Or I don't know.
Anyway. A cute first date idea that I thought was so awesome. My hairstylist is the one that told me about this. They had a bucket of balls and they went to this she first was worried because it was like an overlook place, like a makeout kind of place. but they just took the balls and they just hit the balls out over. Yeah, wait. Don't go there. The golf. They hit the golf balls and they just visited. Stop it. This was a good story. And then
what are you talking about?
Golf balls. I'm talking about golfing off of the makeout point. It's good. I thought it was so cute.
I forgot even what you were talking about. Because, okay.
Awesome first date
Cody's golf balls idea was fantastic. Okay. We think we're so funny.
You have a dirty mind.
Oh, man. Thank you for listening. We'll get into an episode.
Mixers is a company made for women by women. Each of our products have been carefully and lovingly crafted to support you in all stages of your life, providing you with the optimal health you deserve. Each ingredient we handpick is 100% all natural, backed by science, and chosen specifically to better your life physically, mentally, and hormonally. Each product empowers your body to take charge of its monthly hormonal shift and flows, empowering you to live life to the fullest. Let Mixers take care of your needs from sunup to sundown, and you take care of the rest. Check us out at mixers.com, MIXHERS.
Dr. Rosensweet, I'm so excited for our audience to get to meet you. You seem like such a sweet and tender man. And I just know that you are such a wealth of knowledge that we are just going to be thrilled to be able to pick your brain and have you teach us a little bit more about our, hormonal health, and especially as we are progressing through different stages of life, and give us a little more insight on what's available to us and how important it is to make sure that we're working with a trusted practitioner that can guide us, with all kinds of different hormone replacement therapies and things like that. So, but before we dive into all of that fun stuff, let's have you just say hi to our audience and tell us a little bit about you, why you're so passionate about working with women.
Oh, hello, everybody. And it's an honor and pleasure to be here, Cody.
It's so great to have you here.
And I began being a functional medicine physician long before there was a name, actually in 1968. Do the math.
Yeah.
And in the early 1990s, a woman patient that I knew really well, came into my office early one morning, walked right into my room where I was doing paperwork, and was extremely upset. And I knew her. She had retired in her mid-40s. Think about that. Mm-hmm. She had been so successful and so brilliant.
Good for her.
And she said, I'm going crazy. Mm-hmm. I mean it. I want you to trust that. I'm telling you, I'm going crazy. And serendipitously, shall we say, I had been speaking to Dr. John Lee. And a couple conversations, a couple weeks before that, I gave her some progesterone. Yeah. And 3 weeks later, I got a letter from her saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe this stuff. Yeah, I'm totally myself again." Oh. And that was very impressive because, by the time folks seek out medical care, often there's a lot of water under the bridge. There's major projects to do, as you know.
Right.
This had happened so profoundly, so quickly, but I never felt in control of my medical practice. Before I knew it, she had referred many women to me, and I was really impressed with how well this worked. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it was right up where my interests. I love biochemistry. I love chemical roadmaps. And I came to realize that hormones are the most powerful biochemicals in our body. And we need them. And they have a tremendous impact. And the loss of them, which is universal, men and women, always happens. Mm-hmm. And women and men's hormones peak at the age of 20, and they decline. And by women many women in their 30s, and many men now,
right,
in their 30s are experiencing declines. Let's talk about male lack of erection and erectile problems in their 30s. These are from low hormone levels. And then, of course, there's the cascade fall when a woman ceases having her period because her ovaries are no longer producing hormones, but she continues to decline for her whole life. And these hormones are everywhere. Receptor sites are everywhere. They have such profound influences, not just on the gender functions, not just on periods and pregnancy and fertility or erection. They go way beyond that into bones, arteries, brain.
Everything.
These are the most potent biochemicals in our body. Well, to get the kind of results that I was getting, and it was right in line with my mission, our mission, our team's mission. I have quite a team. We feel like the planet desperately needs empowered midlife folks.
Yes. Yes.
And midlife women and men fall off of a cliff, and they 80% do. And help at a time when they've been developing their knowledge, their experience, their expertise. So that's where we felt like we could make the greatest difference, and it's extremely rewarding. It's extremely rewarding to hear from someone, "Oh my God, I'm myself again."
Yes.
I feel good.
I love this.
I mean, this is the song that probably everyone in the healthcare world, there's lots of us at all different levels, this is what we love to hear.
I know. And I love that you are feeling that same passion. And this is something that I feel so strongly about too. And something that I feel like I get the most joy from is exactly what you're saying. When I hear women, I mostly work with women, but with women that have felt like they have completely, like I like how you said, fallen off the cliff, or they just feel like they've lost themselves. And it's true. So many times they will go through these different changes in how they are feeling. They will be experiencing so many debilitating symptoms, and they don't go to their doctor. They don't go to investigate maybe the possible causes of all of these symptoms that they're suffering with. And I think we just chalk it up to aging. It's just in society. I know a lot of women that I've worked with have felt frustrated because even when they have gone to go talk to their medical doctors, they've been dismissed and been talked to like they're just imagining these symptoms, or if they, recognize and validate the symptoms, it's more like, well, this is just what it's like to be a woman and to age and all of this. And that's where I love to empower women. I think
you're naming a very, very unusual thing that's happened in the world of medicine, unlike any other thing that's ever taken place. And by the way, before I go into that, as an aside, women are often best served by going to a female physician who's been in menopause. They're not saying those kind of things, by the way.
Yeah. No, it's true. It is. There's a benefit for sure for that. But I do know and appreciate a lot of the men out there too that are studying this and are passionate about it as well. It's as a human being, we care about each other's health and happiness. And so whatever we can do, that's what we're there
There's
for.
There's this enormous glitch that took place. As the 1990s were progressing, this phenomenon in medicine called specialization was getting pretty mature.
Right.
And when I grew up, it was just be a general practitioner, cover all bases. It'll be fine. Yeah, not so much.
Yeah.
The knowledge bases were so huge that specialization was a natural function and very important because you can't get your knowledge, your arms around all of medicine, for example. Well, this did not occur in the field of hormones. In 2002, this dramatic event occurred at a time, by the way, when 40% of the American women who were in menopause were on hormones and doing much better than the 60% who weren't. In 2002 comes out a incorrect and false reporting of a medical study that suggested that there was increased risk for breast cancer, and it scared women all over the world and also their medical providers. And where medical providers ordinarily would have naturally gravitated to becoming good at this burgeoning field, they avoided it like the plague. They cared. They didn't want to put their women at risk for breast cancer.
Sure.
It was a false report. And if you want, I can, in a very short period of time, come out with what's actually true about risk.
I would love that. Please share that with us.
Well, it begins with, we're human beings. We face a lot of adversity of nutrition, toxicity, stress, a dysfunctional response to it, and dysfunctions of exercise. We're exposed to a lot of stuff that is detrimental to health. So we're all at risk for those and unnamed reasons. And we're all at risk for hundreds of cancers. I mean, as a male, I have an increased relative risk for prostate cancer. And there are reasons why that's true. Mm. And women happen to be at an increased relative risk for breast cancer. And there's reasons. It wasn't so when I was in medical school. Now it is so. There's reasons. But given all those risks that we're all exposed to, women who are treated with hormones are at less risk for breast cancer, heart attack, and stroke than women who go untreated. That is the science. Same for men. Men treated with testosterone are at less risk for prostate cancer and invasive prostate cancer as opposed to those who are not treated.
Yeah. So let's get into that a little bit more, because I'm glad that you've busted that myth a little bit, because I know that I get a lot of questions about that too, even in the nutrition world, the supplementation world. Women are concerned, about anything that could cause them to have a higher risk of breast cancer, so we have supplements that help to support our, body's ability to be able to handle stress better, to be able to help with detoxification and to help support ovarian and adrenal function and all, the whole endocrine system. But it's not, we keep trying to explain to them, we're not necessarily putting hormones into your body. We're helping your body be able to have the building blocks to help create your own hormones. But like you've explained, as we age, even as in our early 30s, we're starting to see some of the shifts in hormones. And so there is going to be a time where it is going to be probably beneficial for most of us to be able to see a practitioner and talk about some hormone replacement therapy. So you've said that it's a safe thing for us to do, but is there a little more guidance that you can give us as far as what should we be asking? Is there certain types of hormone replacement that we should be looking into? Tell us a little bit more of the ins and outs and your thoughts on that.
You had about 7 questions.
I know. Good luck. Catch up with me. Yeah.
Well, no, it's the enthusiasm. That's what drives it.
It's true.
Let me go back to the ovaries and testicles. They stop. Mm-hmm. In women, there's varying stages of the slowing down and the stoppage, and they stop. So these powerful biochemicals, they're not there. In men, it's more gradual, but it depends on the man. Some men, it goes much faster. Some men, it takes longer. But the hormones aren't there. And so you can function without hormones. You can live, but you're going to lose your muscles. That's almost guaranteed. And lose your bones. And lose cognitive ability galore, because there's a zillion estrogen receptor sites in the brain, and on and on and on. Lose the vagina, lose bladder control. This is what happens more or less to everyone because these hormones play such a crucial role. Nutrition, that was one of the first fields of endeavor in 1968 that I got into, that I'm a deep believer in. I've been organic for the last 55 years. And I definitely got into nutritional supplements for the reasons you have. Yeah. They make a difference, but they will not do it. And with or without supplements, these hormones will not come back. Mm-hmm. Supplements are not going to bring them back, and herbs don't do it. The herbs, these are not herbal deficiencies. They're hormonal deficiencies. At best, herbs can cause the body to react. And, as medicines, they're wonderful. They're preferred as a gentler way to address many things, but at times we need strong medicine.
Right. And combination. Sure. Yeah. Combination, right?
Yeah. It's exactly.
Nutrients. Yeah.
But no matter how many nutrients we take,
right,
they're critical for health. My God.
Yeah.
They're not going to produce the hormones.
No, they can't do that.
The hormones
and I think
need
that's
to be replenishing. So now to go to another question. I think, and by the way, if women want to learn more about risk or the process that I recommend, on your website or on however you announce this podcast, Karina can set you up with a free download of the book, Happy Healthy Hormones for Women.
That's great. We'll put a link to that in our show notes so that our listeners can go take advantage of it. That's nice. Thank you.
So it all comes down to this very unusual job. This is what women and men need to do. They need to go shopping. And they need to reach out into the world and find someone who loves this field and knows what they're doing.
Yes, yes, yes.
And unlike any other specialty you can name, obstetrics, gynecology, neurology, internal medicine, where these people are taught and experienced to the max, you don't find it in the world of hormones. You find mostly providers who have these broad-based practices. Hormones are a small part of it. They've gone to a seminar or two. And what's being taught in the seminars these days, and I know because I'm inside some of these seminars, is mixed. There's very few people who are specializing in the work. So you got to go shopping.
Yeah. And do you have resources? Because I know I get asked all the time.
We do.
And it's
we
hard.
Train 600 physicians and practitioners. We're constantly doing that. That's our main mission, is to train and mentor. We also mentor those who we train through weekly grand rounds and personal contact with me. So you can reach out to us.
Love that.
There's another resource. Hormones themselves are good. We're Big Tent. We believe in, we'll look at the world of hormones and what's available and what your provider that you trust is suggesting, and choose what you feel best about. But I want to give you my best shot.
Yeah.
It's compounded bioidentical hormones.
Good. Yeah.
Because in the 80s, we learned that there was very pure, molecularly identical to what the ovary produces and what the testes produce, same molecule, is in the plant world. So pharmaceutical manufacturers figured that out. Yeah. And through their exhaustive skills, they were able to produce, and beginning with the birth control pill, pure estradiol, for example, and they went on to produce these other ones. And these are available. And where are they available? Through compounding pharmacists, they're called.
Right.
Throughout the history of human beings, all pharmacists were compounds. They took stuff and they mixed it together and put it in potions and capsules and stuff. And these are the most interested of the pharmacists, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
And there's 8,500 of them in the United States. And what they permit us to do is what is the best medicine is to individualize each woman.
Yes, please. Yes.
Just for example, some young women, they need this much estrogen, so to speak, fertile, to have regular menses, to carry a pregnancy to term, etc. Yeah. Whereas other women, just as healthy, they need 3 times as much estrogen to be able to be fertile, have regular periods. Then you've got progesterone, and women vary in that. And you've got testosterone, which is not a male hormone. Testosterone is critical to women. Critical your whole life.
Right.
And there's twice as much testosterone in a woman than there is her most potent estrogen, estradiol. So you've got 3 variables there. And women, you put all 3 of those variables together, it's not a problem to someone who knows what they're doing. Right. We just visualize it. We figure it out. It takes about 3 months to really dial it in with excellence, and then to test to confirm. So what compounding pharmacists and bioidenticals allow us to do is get this precision individualization down for each individual woman. And it's not a problem. I define the process of figuring this out together with your provider in our book.
Awesome. I think this is the ideal. And I think that we all need something like this. We all need somebody like you that is going to take the time to recognize that we're all bio individuals. It's going to do the testing and making sure that whatever it is that they're giving to us, prescribing to us, is actually at the right amount for each of us. Because like you said, we're all so different. And I think a lot of the people that I've worked with in my practice, they have felt so frustrated is because they feel like these prescriptions are just kind of be handed out. Everybody's getting a testosterone pellet and it's the same dosage, no matter what. And so I just think that it's so great for our listeners to hear you say this and to emphasize that it's really important to shop, like you said, or do your research and really find somebody who is going to do this work with you. Now that takes me then to the frustration of, it's hard to find somebody.
Yes. That's why I use the word work.
Yeah.
And go shopping. And here's how you do it. I mean, you could contact us directly to see if we've trained someone. in your state, because menopause and andropause medicine lends itself beautifully to telemedicine.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
means you don't have to do what women have done, travel across the country, travel across the continent to find the right provider. So you could contact us.
Great.
You could there's 8,500 compounding pharmacies in the United States. These are the pharmacists that are filling the prescriptions of the providers that are writing to them. And if they're writing to them, they know something.
Right. Yeah.
So what I recommend that you do as an option is walk into the actual pharmacy. Go there, even if you have to travel to do it. So you can talk in person to the compounding pharmacists. These are busy folks, but they'll definitely honor a walk-in, someone that they can talk to as a human being in person. But they may not be able to do that on the phone. You may be speaking to a pharmacy tech. Well, these compounding pharmacists, they know who's writing the prescriptions to them. And what you ask them is, okay, who's your favorite? Who's treating your husband? Who's treating your wife? That's another way to find someone who really cares about this field.
I love that. That's really great advice. Thank you. Yeah. That's great. That's awesome. So, okay. Well, let's talk then. Let's say we have found this perfect physician that's going to help us, whether it's you, which I'm so glad that you offer telehealth medicine for people. So that makes it so that you're accessible for all of us. But let's say that they're finding somebody that they're meeting with in person. What are some of the first things that us as women should be asking our doctor about? I mean, first of all, we can explain to them what we're feeling, the symptoms we're, experiencing. But are there some important key questions that we should be asking and making sure that we're understanding and having a discussion with our doctor about?
Well, there's a list of criteria that I think matter. And number one is that you like the doctor.
Good bedside manner.
They should be offering you a no-charge 15-minute phone call.
Right.
Or at least you like the office manager and you like the policies and that they are prescribing compounded bioidenticals. You want to go that far. Again, lots of things work.
Yeah.
And so some hormones are better than no hormones. But, if you really want to find the best, for one thing, ask your friends and relatives. It's very common these days that you didn't know it, but your cousin from Salt Lake City receiving compounded bioidentical hormones from a nurse practitioner in Salt Lake City that they really like.
Yeah, it's true.
That's another way, another resource. But then you want to talk to the office manager, and here's some key questions. Number one, are you prescribing compounded bioidentical hormones? Number two, are you prescribing compounded bioidentical testosterone? Are you doing this through compounding pharmacies? If they are, you got a good start. My book will go into a precision about the kind of things you're looking for yourself. Here's what you're looking for: greatness. When someone does a really good program with you, it takes a while. I mean, our bodies have been down-regulating and adjusting for 10, 20, 30 years. So it takes 3 to 6 months to get dialed into real great things. But along the way, number one, you should feel good.
Right.
You should feel like yourself. And if you're not, it's a matter of adjustment. And hopefully the provider that you are choosing is very familiar with the adjustment process. Like we think between 4 and 8 hours in the first year. Then it gets easy.
Yeah.
Then it's just annual visits that are an hour and just annual testing. Because once women dial in their own particular balance, it stays remarkably steady for decades. I'm talking decades because there's women I've been treating 10, 20, 30 years.
Okay.
And it stays pretty steady. We check in once a year. Sometimes we tweak it. Sometimes if you go through a period of remarkable stress, your hormone levels change. But we teach women how to make the adjustments for that stress because it's happening in your body. So we part of our process is help you get familiar with the specifics of the hormones that you're taking, what they feel like, and what too much feels like, and what too little feels like.
Yeah.
It's these built-in safeguards. And I describe this again in my book. So you're looking for that. Best case scenario, someone is doing 24-hour urine hormone testing. If they're doing that, they've taken the long ride. And they've been willing to climb the mountain of a whole learning process because it's so excellent, but it's also like many things that's technical. And for any provider, what I find in teaching providers is when they encounter the 24-hour urine hormone test. I'm not talking about other tests. I'm not talking about urine, dried urine. I'm not talking about urine at 5 points. Blood testing is fabulous, but it's not anywhere near as excellent when you're treating a woman with hormones. Not talking saliva tests. No. Talk about 24-hour urine hormone tests. You find someone who's been doing that.
Yeah.
They know more. It doesn't mean that the provider who's not doing that doesn't have a lot of skills and can't help dial you in really excellently. That's why I wrote the book. I said, women, if you're an active participant, I mean, in the beginning, I wrote the book because what did I know? There was so little known. There was no specialization. There was no education. So I figured, well, I'm going to teach the women what this stuff feels like in your body. And I'll start the initial doses and we'll gradually increase the doses to alleviate symptoms of insufficiency, like hot flashes. But if we go too far, they're going to get symptoms of overdose, and we'll figure it out together.
Yeah.
By symptom alleviation alone. So the more you know, you don't have to go to medical school. Read my book. I think everything you need to know is really there. Amazing. And so you figure it out. So I don't want to make it sound overly complex.
Right.
And it is for some, but not for most women. It's just a process, and you figure it out. But it's imperative to confirm by testing, because there's people saying out there something that's false. That you don't need to test hormones, that it doesn't work. That's false. Works beautifully if you do the proper testing. And that symptom alleviation alone is sufficient to treat a woman in menopause. That's false.
Right.
What I did is a study once before teaching at a big event. I looked at 54 24-hour urine hormone tests of women who had come to me recently and said, I feel great.
Yeah.
This is great. I was feeling miserable, and now I feel great. And that's when we test all women. We don't test women in the beginning. It's a waste of money. But we test women when they say, I feel great.
Amazing.
And then what we learned is 50% of women did not have sufficient estrogen to protect their bones and their vagina, which means arteries, brain. Oh, no, they require more. So 25% of women who said they felt great were on estrogen doses so robust that they could be creating breast glandular cell proliferation. This happens once a month in a young woman. So the 24-hour urine hormone testing is a very important part of our process. Symptom alleviation alone is not enough.
Right. Absolutely. We got to go for the root cause, right?
And then I want to take you to what I consider to be the state of the art. It's dispensing these compounded bioidenticals in certified organic oil.
Oh, amazing. Okay. Tell us more about that.
Because most of the topicals, and you definitely want, here's something that's really important. You really want, for best safety, best precision medicine, your estrogen to be applied topically. You apply it to your skin rather than swallow it.
Yeah.
And I go into this in my book.
Super fascinating.
That's very important for state of the art. I'm not saying, the women who are swallowing Premarin, horse urine-derived estrogens, and Prempro, we're at less risk, and we're doing much better than the women who were not on it. I'm not trying to
good, better, best.
There's not a big tent here.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see what our options are. Yeah.
But about 15 years ago, I was writing prescriptions to a compounding pharmacy, and they, by error, sent one of my patients' estrogen, their bias, to my office rather than directly to the patient.
Okay.
And it came in this white cosmetic jar that time long ago. I was fascinated. I had been treating women for 10 years. I had never seen a hormone.
Yeah.
And I cracked the seal on the jar and saw the gel that was there, the biased gel. That's another thing, biased. That's a whole other subject we could ask about later.
Okay.
And this strong odor came out. And I investigated it, and I learned that in order to get these hormones up into solution, you needed a very strong solvent. What was in that jar, over 99% of it was the strong solvent. And I've been a holistic doc since 68. Strong solvents are not, they're toxic. They have toxic potential.
Okay.
So we went on to invent, patent, test an organic oils base to carry these hormones. And they're not solutions. They're suspensions. So you have to do this to the bottle before every dose. And that works really well.
Yeah.
So state of the art is that they're carrying our organic oils. Dispensing
that's amazing. Yeah, that's really cool. That's fascinating.
And especially for biased and testosterone, these are very important to apply topical. We love to apply progesterone topically, but we're also open to oral progesterone. And DHEA, we combine it with our testosterone. So it just comes in an oil. So there's some thoughts.
There's so many thoughts right there. I loved everything you're sharing with us because, again, there are many options, and there's good, better, best options, and it just is so amazing that there's people out there like you that exist that have such a grand amount of knowledge that can really guide and direct us in what is going to be best for each of us. So I know there's so many questions that were running through my head as you were just talking. And, but I want to bring it back to, let's give some of our listeners some of the step-by-steps a little bit. So about what age would you recommend that women start going and doing the work, shopping for a good practitioner and start this process of testing? And then possibly what age would be the best time for women to start using hormone replacement therapies?
Great question. I mean, in general, anytime it comes to a woman to do so.
Okay. So if they start noticing symptoms, is that what you're meaning? Or is it before that?
Yeah. Or if they've been afraid of hormones and they're in their 80s, like my mother was, you start them in their 80s.
Okay.
And there's a special process needed. But you asked for the ideal time.
I did.
It's really in your 30s.
Okay.
Now, some women have robust enough ovarian output that they do not need to think about it in their 30s. And if they're not developing symptoms, here's the symptoms, the main one to look for. If their periods are clockwork,
right,
they're going to be putting out adequate progesterone. If their periods were clockwork, but they're no longer clockwork, there's mixed ovulation there. There's a lot of cycles that are not, ovulation is not occurring. That means they have no progesterone to speak of.
Right.
There's women who are regularly menstruating in their 30s, but their progesterone has declined fast. Remember I said all hormones, ovarian hormones, are at the peak at the age 20.
Right.
Plus or minus a couple of years. They all are declining. So 30s, here we are in the 30s, they've all declined. But what's common we've seen is that the progesterone declines earlier and deeper than the estrogen.
Right.
So one of the things that if women could pick up when that happens, and even get over-the-counter progesterone, because you can get it over the counter.
Yeah.
Progesterone creams. It's a great time to start because progesterone is there's 100 times more progesterone in a woman's body than there is estrogen. This is nature had something in mind there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so important. And that's what I found too, that most of the time as women, especially as they start going into perimenopause, that seems to be the first sex hormone that tends to tank. And so, yeah, I think it's important for us to know that there's ways that we can help, reduce that drastic decline by helping to give our body maybe what it's not producing naturally on its own. And that's important and such a great, tool for us to use. But over the counter, is there a concern about giving yourself too much and not having somebody?
Not with progesterone.
Not with progesterone.
Not with progesterone. First of all, the over-the-counter. Well, I'm not recommending over-the-counter. I mean, the best thing you could do, like you said, good, better, best, is link up with someone who knows what they're doing. And in the case scenario, they're going to prescribe you progesterone and the topical organic oils.
Yeah.
Great. And they're going to know how to help you down dose. And you can learn how to do that in my book. But, it's very common that a woman lets things go. She's not sleeping as well.
Right.
She's basically strong and successful, but she's getting some bizarre anxiety. Like, where'd that come from?
Yes.
Yeah, life is stressful, but what's this anxiety thing?
Right.
When that's happening, there is a significant decline in the progesterone. And so much of that, there's other causes of anxiety, of course. But if a woman hasn't had anxiety in her life and all of a sudden in her 30s, she's developing this anxiety or sleep disturbance or irregular periods, it's often a time when the estrogen is declined as well. And if she's getting hot flashes or she's waking up in the middle of the night and not able to go back to sleep, she's dealing with both estrogen and progesterone decline.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of women are also dealing with testosterone decline. They're putting too many demands on testosterone, and that's consequential. So if you've lost your drive, if you're used to making 50 decisions a day without even thinking about it, and marching out into your day with aggression and handling 82 zillion things.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you're sort of losing your drive or your decision-making ability.
Yeah.
Because I've seen this, women in their late 30s and 40s not having adequate testosterone, and it creeps up on you. It's only when I'm thinking of one patient in particular, when we replenished her testosterone in her early 40s, she went, oh my God, I didn't even know this had happened so gradually. I'm definitely myself again. So the job is always the same. As early as you can think about it in your 30s, some can wait to your 40s. Go shopping, find that provider that's got a level of excellence, and you'll be home free if you do that.
I mean, how wonderful to set ourselves up for success. That would be great. But I love also the thought that it's never too late, that there's hope for all of us.
Correct.
No matter if we've worked with a great practitioner like you or not, there's a lot of hope for us out there. And so there's a lot of people that are just as passionate, about helping support you and guide you down the right roads and give you the information that you deserve to know, because all of this, that's why I love having these types of conversations. I think it just opens up our minds. I think there's not a lot of education, at least I hope it's getting better, but at least when I was, growing up, there was no talk about this whatsoever. And so I've had to, seek people like you, experts like you, to learn some of the things that have helped guide me to be able to go through every phase, and try to thrive through every phase. So yeah.
One thing I'd like to say is that when a woman's body has been without hormones, her last period was 3 years ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago, there is a special additional process we go through that relates to cardiovascular health, because she's lost some of her protection. So we want to make sure prior to launching a treatment program that we take these special precautions. But someone who knows what they're doing is trained in it. They'll pick it up. They'll say, okay, yeah, we're gonna do a little preliminary work here, just for your ultimate safety. That's all we're doing, and it's not a big deal. Well, and then how long do you take them?
Yeah.
You want to know that answer?
I do. I was just going to ask you that. So yeah, I think that was really important, though, that we ask to make sure that they're doing that kind of testing if we're in that phase of life. So I love that you pointed that out. But I do want to know what your recommendation is on how long a woman should be using hormone replacement therapy.
Talk to women who are on it.
Yeah.
And here's what they're going to say. So long as I can open up the cap, you will never get this removed from me. And talk to men who are on testosterone that didn't have it for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. The day I can't open the cap and someone won't open it for me is my last day.
That's
which
the end.
means every single day that I'm on earth, they'll never take mine away. Every single day I'm on earth, I will never stop this wonderful stuff.
That's good to know, because I know we do get, different types of recommendations. It's
the
common
recommendations were weird.
Yeah.
There was 18 million American women in 2002. 40% of all women in menopause were on Premarin and Prempro. And then the scare came out. And the number of women taking hormones dropped to the low 1 or 2 million. That scared that many women and providers.
Right. It would, for sure.
But the consequences to so many of their women were so troublesome and life-stopping. They found their way back. And they found their way back to compounding pharmacists and prescribers who knew how to do it. By 2016 study, there were 6 million women, 18 million prior. 2016, 6 million women, and over half of them were receiving compounded bioidentical hormones.
Yeah.
But along the way, the story was stop taking your hormones.
Right.
Yeah, well, tell a woman who can't sleep, mood has gone wacky, and a long list of symptoms that happen from the lack of these powerful hormones. So someone came up with this theory, well, take the smallest amount for the shortest period of time.
And you don't go with that. Huh?
There was no studies based on that.
Was just okay, good to know.
That was their scared approach, cautious approach. I don't want to just call it scared. It was a cautious approach. Well, yeah, I understand. If you can't sleep, how good is that going to be for your health and your risk factors?
Exactly.
But it was a total invention, and that's even been retracted. Even traditional doctors know, oh, wait a minute, the length of time you should be taking these could be for your whole life. And you don't. Take the lowest dose. Would you do that? Like, take the lowest dose of vitamin C you can possibly find and just take it for a year.
Yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense. So instead of looking for the lowest dose, just look for the dose that is recommended for you, where you're at, right? So, and I think the biggest change there probably is that women probably, from 2002 to 2016, is that they were becoming more educated, that there were better options, better delivery systems for these hormone replacement therapies. And so, fascinating. I'm learning so much. I've loved this. This has been a really great conversation. I'm sure we could sit here for hours and pick your brain. I'm going to have you back on this show again. But thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. I can't wait to link all of the ways that our listeners can connect with you. And I know they're going to want to. They're going to want to take advantage of the book that you've written. I'm excited to read that myself. And tell us some other ways that our listeners can connect with you. Do you have a podcast, or what are you doing?
Yeah, we have Facebook channels. We do podcasts ourselves. I'm involved with the protection of compounding bioidenticals. The podcast we're doing is focusing in on the experts to get the expert opinions. People have spent their lifetime studying progesterone, for example. On YouTube, there's all kinds of stuff. There's iwonderdoctor.com. I wonder doctor.
Yeah, that's cute.
That's a basic education on menopause. There's a menopause thing we've done there. And bright.live, BRITE.
Okay.
.live will get women into our particular organization. BRITE, bright.live.
Awesome. So great. Well, I'm excited about all of this. So thank you again. We love everything that we can learn. I know that our audience, they love learning about their bodies. And if you're wanting, it sounds like, to even go into a deeper dive, it sounds like you have a lot of resources available for all of us. So anyways, thank you again. We appreciate all of you listeners for tuning in every single week. We drop these new episodes every single Tuesday. Please send in your questions. The questions that you send in to me helps me to know what topics you want us to cover. And when you leave us a rating and review, it allows us to be able to grow this podcast community and allows us to be able to invite amazing guests like Dr. Rosensweet to come and share their knowledge with all of us. So tune in again next week with us. Until then, I hope you have a very happy and healthy week. Bye.